So, the American system of tradition, of censorship, is going in full swing. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, because you might have thought America as a place of freedom, and, Second Amendment stuff and all the rest of it, that does all the hard work protecting the first. However,
Ironically, you say, oh, the tradition of censorship. I think only a few years in something like 1798, a few years after the Constitution was ratified, one of the presidents, I forget exactly which one, put in a sedition act.
I'm not surprised, that early statements, but in the modern era, you might have thought this would be ridiculous, but no, because you remember during COVID, the US government worked with the social media giants. It has now been released, documented, that they were the ones who were banning everyone. Like, literally, the government was asking, can you censor this person on Instagram?
Zuckerberg said so.
Yeah, and we have the emails back just saying, yeah, no problem, and then they did it. And this is now going to be expanded to anyone who refuses gender ideology, because they're a terrorist these days. Starting off, of course, just with an article on lotus.com from Will Noland, The Universal Asset of Liberalism, which I'm going to be taken from because it's very relevant to what I'm going to be talking about, which is that, well, if you're truly a liberal, you must believe in the fact that you can escape reality itself, because reality is oppressing you. Or at least this is how modern leftists see themselves, in that vein. So we'll start off with, if we go to the next link here, in which we can see the newest news, being from Lotus TikTok, just giving us an update on American schools. Are they still the same? Yeah, they are. It just seems to keep going on. As previously reported, an NEA has been distributing safe space badges to teachers across the country. The badge has a QR code that leads to sites containing sexually explicit content. Fantastic. I did see a meme about all of this, just the endless drivel that comes out that we see of just, like, going for a job interview, and the person's like, yes, I am a sexual degenerate and mentally ill. Oh, congratulations, you're going to be a teacher. Like, that's the careers advice at this point. I'm not even going to go into this individual, it's just as normal as norm. And if we go to the next image, we can see the average American school with its big old board containing information about sexuality and gender, as they usually do. Yeah, traditional things, traditional American things. But that's not the big news. The big news is that the Biden administration is now going to, presumably, take the advice of, as we can see here, the American Medical Association, which is the, do you not like any of this? Do you not like that we're transitioning your kids? Well, it's terrorism. How dare you say such things?
I mean, they've already tried that sort of thing after the parents were complaining at parent-teacher association meetings, so I'm not surprised that it's going further now.
Yeah, now they have the medical establishment on their side. Why might the medical establishment do this? Money. Mr. Krabs, literally.
Literally, I wonder if there's any massive amounts of money to be made in transitioning surgeries.
Yeah, we've gone over this with Matt Walsh's independent journalism, which, the entire surgery department can keep themselves afloat just with the, the penis plasties? Whatever they call them.
I think one of the best things to note from that, and I think it's also noted in Irreversible Damage, the book by Abigail Schreier as well that I've covered, and you can check out the coverage of that on the premium website, is that once you have gone through the surgery, it's not a one-time thing. You don't just go through the surgery and, congrats, you're a man now, you're a woman now. No, you're a patient for life, which means a nice, steady, recurring source of income.
Which is very good. And that's why if we go into this article here, we can see the American Medical Association is asking Big Tech and Department of Justice to censor, deplatform, investigate, and prosecute journalists who question the orthodoxy of radical gender surgeries for minors, arguing that public criticism is disinformation. And he's not joking, he's highlighted the section here that is relevant. It starts off with, Dear Attorney General Garland, coordinated attacks threaten federally protected rights to healthcare for patients and their families. The attacks are rooted in an intentional campaign of disinformation, where a few high-profile users on social media share false and misleading information targeting individual physicians or hospitals, such as video evidence of your discussions internally, saying about how much money you're making off all of this. I mean, I'm sorry, that's not disinformation. Video evidence of you discussing how much money you're making from this, and how you're going to continue doing this because it makes so much money.
Well, video evidence and then also recorded calls that somebody like Libs of TikTok, for instance, has personally made to get information saying, by the way, are you willing to transition kids under 18 years old? Well, we don't do it often, but yes, we are.
That's misinformation, Harry. I know it's an audio recording of reality, but that's how this
It's
works.
also terrorism. It's an obvious attempt to get those hospitals bombed. That's exactly what Libs of TikTok intended all along.
Our organizations have called technology companies to do more to prevent this practice on digital platforms, and we now urge your office to take swift action and to investigate and prosecute all organizations, individuals, and entities responsible. So not only do we want all of Facebook, Twitter, etc. to delete all these folks, pointing out that you are doing what you're doing, and you're doing it for cash. And now you want the government to step in and also just prosecute people.
Literally just criminalizing opposition.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. I mean, the thing is, like, you might think, oh, they'll never do that, except they did during COVID. I mean, we have the emails released and have gone through previously, where the government literally just wrote to Facebook and whatnot and said, yeah, delete these people off the internet.
Yeah, just make these opinions illegal.
So, Mark says in here, this is how the left's playbook goes. Last year, the National School Board Association, Department of Justice, and FBI worked together to label parents who opposed critical race theory domestic terrorists. They want to stifle dissent, suppress speech, and criminalize opposition. Yeah, 100%. This is exactly what they're doing. I don't know why else you would send a letter to the administration saying, yeah, can you stop prosecuting anyone who calls out what we're doing by showing video evidence of us discussing it in private? Don't you know the public weren't meant to see those? I did like even Andrew Sullivan responds in here saying, evidence-based gender-affirming care equals experimental off-label sex change drugs, not FDA approved for children with natural puberty. Like, yeah, that is what's going on.
And once again, just to reaffirm, in the states where people are a bit more safeguarded against these sorts of things, where the medical establishment isn't going to just hand over hormones and treatment and surgeries as easily as they are in, say, a state like California, there are still independent actors online, some of whom I've had run-ins with, who are making hormones in bathtubs, DIY hormones, and sending them illegally through the American postal system without parents' knowledge, permission to, young minors. And they're not the terrorists.
We're Breaking Bad now on hormones.
Literally, that's what's going on. I mean, there's no RVs involved. It's mainly just bathtubs.
Jesse, we're going to transition kids, Jesse.
Mr. White.
You gotta stop
too much testosterone, Mr. White.
Stop it, Jesse.
But no, that's what's happening. These people aren't domestic terrorists. These people aren't, being prosecuted by the establishment and institutions. No, it's the people saying, maybe let's not do that.
Yeah, instead, please stop Breaking Bad. But you can also see it here, just Christopher making the point, it's like, oh, let's ask our local fascism experts on Lefty Journo to tell us whether or not this is fascism, having the state literally collude with corporations to shut down all opposition. Yeah, it is, in case you're wondering. However, you might also think, well, it's maybe just the hospitals, so I can live without that. No, there's a lot of other things that, of course, will become terrorism in due time. Other things that, of course, come from gender ideology. The funniest of news stories about this in the United States I saw was this, which I'm going to enjoy. 2 gay men, who both attended law school, filed a legal complaint against the city of New York, arguing that not having access to a woman's reproductive potential is a form of discrimination, and that they are entitled to have the city pay for a surrogate.
Now, I don't want to sound like an insufferable leftist here, but where are the people saying Handmaid's Tale? They say that about everything right-wingers do in regards to women's rights and other such things, but not when it's 2 gay men saying we literally have the right to own your womb.
These 2 chaps are very strange, and I'm not going to go into their background.
You don't say. I'm shocked.
Yeah, I don't think this is all in good faith, to say the least. However, the argument is genuinely funny, because
when
you get down to it, you're absolutely right. I mean, I love the idea that a gay right now is a right to a woman.
Gay men are hoarding our women.
No, but you literally turn up to New York City and just like, yeah. By the way, I'm entitled to a woman because I'm gay. I don't have a vagina, so give me one.
Give me the womb, baby.
And you're not even wrong though, because the person says in here, quote, "Gay men now want insurance companies to treat being born male as a disability, or as a protected category, one which requires paid compensation. They are protesting the unfairness of not being able to be born biologically female."
So the gays have gone back to the 1950s, read some of the literature on gays and gone, these guys got a point.
Well, these 2 chaps, I'm eager to make that distinction because I think it is genuine.
Yeah, no.
But also the point here, which is, why not? Why is being in a gay relationship not kind of some discrimination against being gay? Why are they not oppressed? Why shouldn't they have access to a woman?
Gays discriminate gays by not having children with gays.
Well, they can't have children with gays.
Exactly. Discrimination.
They can always keep trying, though.
Discrimination. I tell you what, Will's Will's article
argument
is absolutely right. It's just denying reality.
This is why I brought it up and why I think it's golden. I think Will is absolutely correct. People should go give that article I mentioned at the start a read. Because, again, this is liberation from reality itself. Reality of me as a gay man with my gay partner not being able to have children because none of us have a vagina is oppression. And therefore, I am entitled to access to a woman, which the state will pay for, and she will be my surrogate.
In my basement.
If no woman signs up for this, presumably we then have to start conscripting women, because
Well, surely that
it
would
is a
just
human right.
It would be mass homophobia from the female sex.
You don't want to be a surrogate for this gay relationship? Well, pretty homophobic, ladies.
Lesbians not wanting to suck dick is now transphobia. Yeah. Therefore, women not wanting to have gay men's children is homophobia. It all makes sense.
It's the acid of liberalism, man.
It really is.
I think Will then genuinely is correct. The more I think about the article, the more I'm like, that explains a lot. And amazingly enough, hopping back over the pond to the UK, we've actually done something similar, which is as you can see here from Human Rights Watch, remember it's a human right to get away from reality itself.
Mm-hmm.
England to end LBQ plus discrimination in access to fertility services. Coverage for single women and transgender people remains unclear, which we'll get back to some other point, I guess, to fix the reality again.
So they've left out the gays and the trans here.
Yeah, because we haven't got to New York levels of, well, a gay right to a woman is a gay right, which
I'm not saying that this
such a weird statement.
I'm not saying that this applies to every gay couple, but I have seen a few sus stories in the news recently about gay couples with adopted children.
Well, there was the worst one. I forget the name. I've completely forgotten it now. But people will put it in the chat. There was that lesbian couple in California who were big Bernie bros. They would go to every Bernie bro rally.
I remember these.
They adopted
ones.
8 kids of various racial backgrounds, and they would take them to Bernie bro protests and be like, "We're a happy family, even though we're all different races." Like a "Don't hug me, I'm scared" sketch. And
just like a "Don't hug me, I'm scared" sketch, it ends horribly.
Yeah, the 2 lesbians decided that the whole world was going to end because Donald Trump had been elected, so they put the kids in the minivan and drove into the sea.
No, I think it was a bit more than just that. It was because of the fact that the Child Protective Services were starting to look into them because there were
they were insane.
There was some very credible allegations of abuse coming from within that household. So instead of giving up the children, they decided to
kill them all.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And themselves.
I'm not saying that's indicative or anything, but it's just,
no, of course not.
There are some weird ideologues that engage in everything in the world, and I think the New York couple there probably are on the same vein of just like, what are you doing? It's a gay man's right to a woman. Like, literally the opposite. That's the whole point of being gay, I would have thought. Get away from women, whatever. So the article in here says, same-sex female couples seeking 1 cycle of NHS funding for veto fertilization are required to prove infertility by self-funding 12 rounds of artificial insemination, including 6 in clinical settings, costing approximately £26,000. Which, you're only entitled to this under the NHS if you're infertile. Whereas if you're not infertile, then this isn't like taxpayers' problem. I don't think it's a taxpayer's problem either way, but whatever. Like, it is what it is. And it's that way because, women don't make sperm.
What?
I know, news. This is a news channel, I'm told.
Scientific discoveries. We're breaking some ground here.
Yeah, so the lesbians were required to fund to see if they were infertile, and if they were infertile, then they get it for free, like the hetero couples. And for heterosexual couples, the requirement to prove infertility is 2 years of unprotected sex to prove that they're infertile. Which,
How do you prove it?
What do you mean?
How do you prove? I swear we've been having 2 years of.
I don't think they're going to check.
Okay. Did they request video footage?
Anyway, do it right now in front of me.
Yeah.
But the point
impregnate her right now.
Of course, there are differences. There's a differentiation between heterosexuals and homosexuals. In this case, lesbians, being that heterosexuals can produce sperm and eggs together, and the homosexual women.
I'm still not sure. I think we need to consult the science on this.
Yeah, which I'm told tells us we're wrong. Which
probably
about the science.
In a few months, it will probably say that actually women can produce sperm. In fact, it does already, doesn't it?
Probably. I know it does actually.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Because if trans women are women, then women can actually produce.
But back to the point, which is differentiation is bad. We're not allowed to do that, of course. Oh, sorry, discrimination. We have to use the different word, because if we actually say differentiation, we'll realise that all this is retarded. The new strategy removes the requirement for self-funding and states that female same-sex couples can now expect NHS coverage to start with 6 cycles of artificial insemination. So the heteros have to prove infertility, whereas the lesbians are infertile because of their sexuality, in this sense. It's literally impossible, so they just get it for free. But the point there being, you may end up agreeing with that, perhaps, and in which case, why should the gay men not get state-funded waifus? They're also infertile by dint of being born gay. In which case, I'm sorry, NHS waifus have to come forward and start serving gay men. I don't know what to say. It's fantastic. I love gender ideology. We can't differentiate between anything anymore. So we all have to...
We're all just a nice, big, massive grey blob.
If you're a gay couple in the chat and want a state waifu, let us know.
Do you remember Futurama with the neutral planet, where everybody's just neutral at everything? That's what we're turning into. You're not allowed to be different. Everyone has to be neutral. Somebody, I know we're about to die. Somebody tell my wife I said hello.
We can't tell any differences between men and women, and now we can't even tell differences between gays and straights. They're just basically the same. Okay, right. Anyway, getting back to the gender ideology, because you may remember we left off the story with mermaids the other day, in which they're being investigated for child abuse.
Big shock.
Yep, funny that. Gender ideologues, always doing this. Thanks, H-Bomber Guy, for all the money. Mermaids said in court that they do not give out medical advice. Oh, that's good to know. After all the medical advice you've been giving out. Yet in these documents to new patients who contact mermaids, they say binders are safe to wear for up to 8 hours a day. Hormone blockers are reversible, which is pretty dangerous rhetoric for non-professionals.
That's not just dangerous rhetoric, those are lies.
Yeah, it's also criminal. So there's that as well. However, you may wonder where the story went from there, because it seems to just get worse and worse for those folks in the UK. Well, pink news to the rescue.
Oh, thank God.
Someone is
riding in on horseback, ready to beat off the hordes. No, not like that.
Odd
that
choice of words, Harry. At least said hordes. However, Pink News have decided that their favourite front group is under attack, and so they had to jump to defence. As you can see, they published articles like this. What is chest binding, and how does it help LGBTQ people feel trans joy? I'll get back to it in a minute. What I'm going to say about that.
I'll let you get through.
Binders and the act of binding has horrified right-wing press. Yeah, and every other press when it was happening in Cameroon, but here it's fine. But for trans people who've used a binder, it can be a vital step in their journey to affirmation of who they really are. There are some potential risks when using a binder. Really? I thought it was for trans joy. I didn't think there were any risks.
I'm shocked they've even admitted that.
Yeah. But charities such as Mermaids are also able to give advice on safe use and best practice. It's like, yeah, but they literally give wrong advice.
They literally just say it's perfectly fine, don't worry about it, bro.
8 hours a day, what will be the problems? So, the irreversible damage, that'll be the problem. No, never mind. Anyway, we get a quote from a 27-year-old public relations specialist from Oregon, USA. I don't know why they asked a literal propagandist. Like, this is his... What do you think public relations is? But whatever. He comes out and says, having a flat chest was incredible, beyond belief. Okay, we asked a literal propaganda agent, and that's what he had to say. Wearing a binder helped him feel a bit more at ease just living in the world at large, but it was always a low moment to take it off at the end of the day. I wish I could do it all the time. So, right, okay, I've had enough of Pink News. Not reading any more of that.
Most women I hear about have a great deal of joy when they can get home and finally take their bras off, but...
No, isn't it good to wear it all the time? Like a whole other distinction we'll get into at some other point. But Pink News are also making adverts on their Instagram about this, which you can see there. 5 ways to bind safely this summer. I thought it was safe.
Don't.
Yeah, I don't know if you can click through the images there, John, just to get the family-friendly feel of the whole thing. Just the smiling cartoon character. If you go to the next one, just go
horribly annoying corporate art style that you see everywhere.
Yeah, look at this. Look how joyous this is. Isn't this joyous? Isn't it fantastic?
Appropriately chunky body proportions, though.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, all of this just reminds me of Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Like,
you've just been watching that.
I've been watching it a lot. It's on the brain. But to be honest, when you're interacting with stuff that looks just like it, it's just like, huh. If you go to the next link here, I don't know if you've got the timestamp on.
Look how much water you could be full of.
It's not just me, right?
That's so weird.
You get the next link. We could see the Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared episode. You remember this one? Don't know if you've seen it. This is the one where some, like...
Yeah, no, I remember this. This is where he goes up in his... Well, you'll describe it better. You're more familiar.
Yeah, so this character turns up who's a member of some love cult who wants everyone to join the cult, change their name, scrub their brain, and become one of us. And he turns up advocating that the world's full of hate, but if you believe in love, come with me over the rainbow.
Why do you do such a good cartoon character voice?
Oh, it'd be fun. But it's just the fact of, I don't know if Don't Hug Me We're Scared is actually secretly based, but to be honest, more and more I look at the episodes, I'm like, some hidden messaging here I didn't expect.
I feel like there is some allegorical baseness possibly going on underneath.
Yeah, there's some creepy sort of groomer psychopaths who keep turning up warning you about, the whole world's full of hate, trust me, don't look into it. So come with me, we're the team of love. Now scrub your brain and change your name. Just literally a line.
I mean, that does sound shockingly relevant.
Anyway, getting back to that another time, we'll go forward, back to Pink News, who are also running into the defense, as you can see here. Top surgery dramatically increases quality of life for young trans adults, study finds. Do you believe this?
No.
No. It's going to be a hard sell.
No, because something...
Cut off your tits, it'll be good for you.
Something tells me that the science and those conducting these studies might be compromised. They might have an agenda they want to push.
Not very trusting. That it's just, trust me, it's good for them.
And having looked into a few pro-trans studies myself, a lot of them have a few, shall we say, methodological issues.
But if we move forward, we'll go to the next one, because the CEO of Pink News actually gets tied into all of this, as you can see here. So J.K. Rowling called him out. And so, by the way, the CEO of Pink News, his husband's on the Mermaids board as a trustee, like he was in the past. I was like, yeah, that might explain all the simping.
Unbiased.
Yeah, so the CEO, Benjamin here, comes out and says, now J.K. Rowling has mentioned me in a thread about this. Anthony was a trustee in Mermaids until he resigned many years ago. I have removed myself from her conversation as I have already received abuse. Like, right, okay, yeah, you're receiving abuse. Someone mentioned you. Welcome to the internet.
Someone said something mean about me online.
Continues to whine. I've had to remove myself from another J.K. Rowling tweet following more abuse. Yeah, being called out as abuse. Contrary to J.K. Rowling's claims, barely any of the tens of thousands of content across Pink News ever mention her. She's obviously not that popular. I was like, funny. Wow. You can go to Pink News and just look up J.K. Rowling, and then you get a few results. Just a few. Yeah, just a few more.
The abuse. The abuse is unbearable.
Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, someone mentions you that as abuse, so you have been abusing J.K. Rowling for a long time, Mr. Benjamin. God, it goes on a bit. Anyway.
It really does.
Well, is it going to end?
No, just keeps going.
Right, we'll get back to that another time. We'll go to the next link. So I've got one more thing to mention, which is, breaking news, just as we, before we did this. Trustee of the transgender charity Mermaids quits over speech to paedophile group.
Colour me shocked?
Well, imagine my... Someone play it.
Someone edit that in, please.
Imagine my shock. Dr. Jacob Breslau was a graduate student in gender research.
There's never been any association with nonces in that field.
The London School of Economics he studied. Right? So he's a professional loser. And he gave a speech at an event for US-based group B4U-ACT in 2011. According to its website, B4U promotes services and resources, quote, for self-identified individuals who are sexually attracted to children. Right. A paedophile group.
Nonce defenders.
Not even hiding it anymore. Breslau's presentation appeared to be a critique of how paedophiles are understood. Records show that the academic, who is now an assistant professor of gender at sexuality at the London School of Economics. If you have kids at the London School of Economics,
remove them.
I'd be worried. But he became a trustee of Mermaids, a transgender youth support charity, in July this year because he wanted to help the youth.
He wanted to be near children for unrelated reasons.
After the Times approached Mermaids about Breslau's talk, he tenured his resignation as a trustee, but for some reason didn't tell them before. If they knew, they were happy to take him on, although they said they were unaware, which I totally believe. And B4U calls itself a unique collaborative effort between minor attracted people, so children, and paedophiles. That's what they want to make normal.
That's the new politically correct term for paedophile, yes.
Wouldn't want to upset the pedos, and mental health professionals to promote communitarian and understanding between the two groups. I don't want communication between pedos and children.
Can we go back to the episode of Brass Eye where he just lists all of the terrible names you could call nonces and just start bringing those? Small bean regarder.
Yeah, that's the only one I remember.
It's such a good one.
It's such a stupid one. But there we have it. The Brass Eye reality has come back, and it is true. And I'm just saying, maybe Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared got a few points more than they thought they were doing in regards to the gender ideologues. Which, if you criticise now, I suppose you're a terrorist. If you appreciated that segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the Epoch series, this one on William the Conqueror Part 2, the Battle of Hastings. You want to find out what else we're putting out? You can follow us on Getter at lotuseaters_com on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.